back to Free Speech Nation. So let's get some more questions from our lovely studio audience. We've got a question from Peter. Hello, Peter.
Yes, hi, Andrew. Andrew, why do you think the horrendous rail crash in Ohio has become politicised?
Yeah, I mean, this story is horrible and fascinating. So early this month, a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed. This was in East Palestine, a small town in Ohio. Doctors are now saying that people are suffering from all sorts of health problems relating to the incident. We've had some commentators, Tucker Carlson, for instance, has claimed that the residents of East Palestine have been neglected because it's an overwhelmingly white area, it's a politically conservative area. It seems as though, Paul, it's become a sort of area for the culture wars. I mean, really, we should be talking about the thousands and thousands of animals that have died, the toxins, the chemical. They don't know whether the water is safe to drink. They're not being told, really.
Madness. Everything's the culture war now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. The problem with this story right from the beginning is they never wanted to talk about it. On social media, there was a local reporter for a local news station that was essentially arrested for talking about it at the school where they were doing the press conferences with the police.
Really?
And that immediately got much greater attention than anything else. And no one seems to be openly talking about what the dangers are. So the sort of stories you're talking about where, you know, children and grown-ups are suffering with breathing, animals are dropping dead, the fish are floating in the water. Those sort of stories are coming out as a side story.
Yeah, and we've had Erin Brockovich, who, of course, is the famous environmental campaigner. She's there at the moment. She's been holding meetings with the local people, talking about how serious this is. But I was speaking to a producer from here, actually, who was in America recently, and he says it's not true that it hasn't been covered. People are covering it, but that the media was slow to cover this.
Yeah.
Why would that be the case?
Well, I think because what happens in the United States is very much like what happens online. Clicks lead to engagement, engagement leads to advertising, and advertising leads to revenue. So this may be the case. People will look at it and go, unfortunately, how many people care about an environmental catastrophe that happens in a village in Ohio when we can be talking about the latest tweet that Donald Trump has done? Well, he's not even back on Twitter, the latest thing that he said, and that will create more engagement, more advertising, more revenue.
But Donald Trump himself has gone to East Palestine to talk to people, so it has become clearly a hotbed for political agitation. We've got a photograph there of J.D. Vance as well there. So this is, there is a narrative developing that actually, because it is a politically conservative area, that people haven't really cared as much. What do you make of that idea?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know. That may be true or it may not be true, but I think what we really need to be talking about is the effect that these toxic chemicals are having on the environment, they're having on the wildlife, they're having on the fauna. Yeah. It is an absolute catastrophe.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've been a bit surprised that this hasn't been more widely covered here in the UK, because this was an incredibly horrendous, the train crash in of itself, the huge explosion, the fact that this train was carrying all sorts of dangerous chemicals and toxins. Why aren't we talking more about this?
I don't know. And that's what's so intriguing about this whole story. It's a huge story. You know, everything Francis said is right. This is massive, and it's causing it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I think it's been overshadowed by the fact that Biden went to the Ukraine and it was the year anniversary.
Yes.
I'm not totally convinced by the fact it's a white Christian community, conservative community. I mean, I think that's an easy thing to say as part of the culture war. I'm sure it's true that that's what the case is there, but I don't know if that's the reason why we're seeing this. But I don't know. And why is this stuff being carried on the railways? I don't know where else it would be carried. But, there's loads of questions here.
Well, there are, but also, the fact that these kinds of disasters can have major political ramifications. If you look at Hurricane Katrina, for instance, what happened there, it can have a knock-on effect.
Yeah, absolutely.